but I'm fired up, ready to go. I saw people are picking us to win the Natty this year, and so I'm fired up.
That's
How are
right.
we looking this year? What's the squad looking like?
Team's looking really good. Pitching, fielding, hitting, lefties, righties, infielders, outfielders, catchers. They got it all, man. I mean, the foremost chooser of all things college baseball has chosen Arkansas to win a national championship in D1 baseball. So we got our rat poison this morning.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, I was like, I hope you're not talking about me. I wouldn't want you to put that hex on me, but I did see that D1 baseball chose the Hogs, and that's why, man, because I saw that they picked them, and I guess I shouldn't have asked how the team was, given that, as you said, the foremost college baseball experts have deemed them the favorites going into the season. But yeah, big season ahead. Who else is looking tough in the SEC? I know LSU is, of course, the reigning champs. A&M with Schloss. Florida, I feel like, had a pretty good year last year. Who else is looking tough this year?
You got it figured out there, man. LSU, Tennessee,
Woo!
yeah. A&M will be good.
Yeah.
Arkansas will be really good. Not sure about the Mississippi schools, but we'll find out. Hey, you know what I'm looking forward to? This will happen maybe in like 6 weeks. The social media battles that'll be going on when UConn and Purdue match up for a national championship game in the NCAA tournament. Oh, yeah. Like, I've been paying attention with you and the Purdue fans with the Zach Edey thing, and we obviously know your love of UConn. So, man, that's going to be fun. And since they're 1-2 in the polls and playing the most consistent basketball, that we can get this done, right?
Well, I'll tell you, a couple things. One, I actually had Matt Painter on my radio show last weekend. I'm not sure if he's the one that knew that I was the one that started the narrative, but I did bring up that narrative, and he was not happy about that narrative going on. But two, what I will say is, listen, I think one, the most interesting thing is who's number 3, which I talk about on my podcast today. But then also, guys, it is weird to say, but, I did a radio interview in Indiana earlier this week, and I really think it's kind of Final Four or bust for Purdue this year. Now, UConn is kind of the same, but obviously if something weird happened in the tournament, I think, you can always fall back on last year. But if you're Purdue, after everything that happened last year, you bring your whole team back, you're playing great basketball, you beat everybody in the out-of-conference except for Arkansas, ironically enough. I know that was an exhibition game. But you beat Tennessee, you beat Arizona, you beat Marquette, you beat whoever. It sounds weird to say that a team that has never made the Final Four in the modern era, that it's Final Four or bust. But I kind of feel like it is, and I've said this for years, is I do believe that Matt Painter maybe gets more protection from the media than anyone I've ever seen. I mean, he is literally coming off the worst 2-year run in NCAA tournament history for any coach, which is also concurrent with the worst 3-year run of any coach in tournament history, losing to a 13 seed, a 15 seed, and a 16 seed last year, obviously all as a 4, a 2, and a 1 seed a year ago. So it's a weird thing, guys, because I really do feel like it sounds crazy to say that it's quote-unquote Final Four bust for a team that's essentially never been there, but I really kind of feel like it is for these Boilermakers this season.
Hey, Aaron, we know how good Auburn is at home. You got a Kentucky team going into Auburn. Any chance this Kentucky team figures it out and finds a way to get a victory this weekend at Auburn?
It's tough, guys, because also Kentucky, they beat Ole Miss the other night, but what's also worth noting is their best kind of veteran forward is Trey Mitchell, who actually left the game with a little bit of a shoulder injury. Now, it doesn't appear to be anything major, but just based on, like, season-ending when I say major, but based on the reports, I would find it shocking if he played this weekend, and even if he does, he would be nowhere close to 100%. And so you look at a situation where Auburn, kind of older, physical, tough, they're at home. I said this the other day. Phil, you'll appreciate this. I said this the other day. I was on Birmingham radio, and they asked me, and I said, I feel like Bruce Pearl has almost built that team to that arena like you would a baseball team. Like you have a short right field porch, so you bring in a bunch of lefty pull hitters, et cetera. You look at Auburn, they're tough, they're mean, they're physical, and that's a kind of a mean place to go play. And so, listen, I haven't completely given up on Kentucky yet. It is worth noting that they've essentially been banged up all season long, but I just think that's a really tough place for a really young team to go, especially without a key veteran forward on the roster.
I mean, Auburn just showed you how good they can be.
Yeah.
I mean, South Carolina has been the most consistent defensive team in the country, and yet Auburn put up, what was it, half 100 against them in the first half, and that game was over pretty quickly. I mean, it's not like I saw South Carolina coming this year, but with their body of work, I did not see what happened at Auburn Arena happening either. But I guess they're pretty much unbeatable at home, just like you said.
Only SEC team that hasn't lost at all at home this year. Even Alabama and the out-of-conference took losses. Obviously, Kentucky has taken a few. Tennessee, ironically enough, lost to South Carolina. So I think there's only about 5 or 6 teams that have yet to lose a home game, whether it's in conference or out of conference, and Auburn is the only one in the SEC. I've never been personally, but the people who have been, and I don't know if either of you guys may have been, they tell me it's as tough of a place to play when it's rocking for a big game as anywhere. And obviously with game day being there tomorrow and everything, it will indeed be rocking.
Is there a team you trust the most in the SEC to go win on the road, Aaron? We know how tough it is to win on the road, but in tournament time, is it Tennessee? Is it Alabama? Who do you kind of have the most faith in the SEC right now?
Yeah, I'd probably still say Tennessee. I know they got beat pretty bad at Texas A&M last week, but I think as we led the segment with, outside of Purdue and UConn, I think just about anybody can lose on any given night. And even like UConn, listen, I follow them closely. I mean, the toughest games on their schedule are still ahead. 2 games against Marquette, at Creighton, at Providence, et cetera, et cetera. So I bring it up because I don't take one bad road game as some sign of disaster looming or anything like that. And Tennessee, as I've told you guys for years, teams that, in my opinion, that can win high-scoring games, can win low-scoring games, can win with offense, can win with defense, those are the ones that are really best suited for March. And I do believe that Tennessee fits that bill. And so we'll see. Alabama, I think, honestly, and I know there was a lot of criticism of Nate Oates around this time last year, but I think Alabama's actually overachieved last year. I don't think their guards are as good as last year. I don't think their big guys are as good as last year. Their three-point shooting statistically isn't as good as last year. So for them to be alone in first place in the SEC right now, I don't know if that'll last, but I still think I think he's doing about as good of a job as you could ask with that team, and I think they're actually overachieving a little bit at this point.
Maybe with all of this that's happened throughout this basketball season, and maybe it's because we're so close to it here, covering Arkansas. The most surprising thing is how now Arkansas basketball is sort of like a footnote in the rest of the season. Just they're the team that that another team is able to pad their resume against, and it's not fun to watch right now, Aaron. To me, it doesn't look like it's fun to play, fun to coach. Fans are not showing up, and man, I don't know if I thought this would be like a great season once we got through the first month, but I didn't think it would spiral like this.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I was there, what was it, the last week of November, first week of December, so we're talking 10 weeks ago. I mean, I'm not talking, I wasn't there in, 4 years ago. I mean, I was there 10 weeks ago, and it was one of the great home court atmospheres that I've ever seen. But yeah, it's been disappointing, and the crazy thing is there's been just moments where you see a glimmer, and sometimes it's not even a full game. Sometimes it's a half, sometimes it's half of a half, whatever. But they just can't put it together consistently. And listen, obviously there's a lot of speculation on what's going to happen after the season. I do think there's obviously a lot of lessons to be learned from this particular team. Not going to pick on any individual players or individuals, but it's clear there are some deficiencies with how the roster was built. It appears from the outside that maybe chemistry certainly appears to be an issue. So it's been disappointing, and it's been disappointing for everybody in that building. I mean, even the players. I mean, listen, you go back to the summertime, and you go back to, honestly, that Purdue win in the preseason where you had the players talking about this is why you come to Arkansas. So it's obviously not just me that's disappointed. Obviously, I know it's a lot of people as well, and I think I would include the players in that as well.
Hey, Aaron, I want to ask you an NBA question. I don't know how much you've been keeping up with the Milwaukee Bucks, and I thought it was strange when they did what they did. Any hope with the Milwaukee Bucks going and getting Doc Rivers? I think they're 3-7 their last 10, making this move in the middle of the year. I guess you're trying to keep Giannis happy and Dame Lillard happy. But do you think they kind of jumped the gun? Is there any hope that the Bucks could win the title this year?
Yeah, I'll tell you, I really don't pay a ton of attention to the NBA during the regular season just with college hoops. One thing I will say, though, and I'm not doing this as a weird promotion, but there's a Giannis documentary coming out on Amazon on Monday, and I would bring it up because I got a chance to watch it. That guy's story is unbelievable, and I think most people know the story, but like the story behind the story is pretty good. So I can't sit here and lie and say that like I know what the impact has been. I see what the win-loss record has been, but I also, it's kind of goes a little bit to the last question is, a lot of people speculate on his future. I think when you see this documentary, and again, I'm not promoting it because I have nothing to do with it, but I think you'll see the relationship that he has with Milwaukee, how important it is that he wins there. So yeah, that was certainly a move that caught me off guard a few weeks ago for sure.
Hey, while we wrap it up here, I want to just go back to something you'd hit on when we started this here. So you had Matt Painter on your podcast, and he doesn't like the narrative of Zach Edey getting calls or not getting called for fouls and, the foul discrepancy and all of that. So without really, telling us what his reaction was, can you give us a little bit? Because we love conflict, Aaron. Conflict sells. What happened there?
Well, I'll tell you, no. It was my Fox Sports radio show. It was Saturday night. Obviously, last Saturday was the night before the Super Bowl, but somebody offered them up to us. They obviously had the big Fox game against Indiana, and I said, yeah. And so, bluntly, I don't even know if he knew that I was kind of the guy that maybe started the narrative, which was 100% accurate, by the way. Surprise, surprise. But it was kind of a standard interview, guys. And, we got the generic, hey, he's only got 10 minutes. He's doing other media stuff, whatever. So, we started off with a couple softballs, and I kind of knew he was on the way out. And I said, if I don't ask this question, I'm not doing my job. And I'll tell you guys, when I sit here and tell you that he gave about a 6-minute answer, and one thing I will give him credit for, right, there's a lot of coaches that even the controversial questions they'll duck. I believe he opened the answer by saying, anyone who believes that doesn't know basketball, and then just went on a 6-minute rant about why anyone who believes that is wrong. And listen, he obviously had the facts to back it up. And I did reference specifically the Northwestern game where they were plus 38 in free throw attempts, 46-8, I believe was the final total. So I'll give credit. He didn't duck the question. He gave a great answer. He feels his way. Obviously he had to go, so we didn't have time to really get back and forth into it. And I wouldn't call it conflict. I would say that he's very passionate about his decision or his answer. But yeah, Phil, I'll send you the podcast there. I think it's somewhere on my Twitter page. I'll send it to you. It's a good 6-7 minute listen because he certainly had a lot to say on the topic.
Okay, that's good stuff. Appreciate you, Aaron. Thanks for coming on, and we'll look forward to visiting again next week. Okay.
Okay, go Hogs. Enjoy the hog pen. You stay out of trouble out there, okay?
Try my best. No, not today. A little too cold for me to be out there today. A little too windy at the moment, too. Aaron Torres with us each Friday on Halftime. Noted narrative starter. Noted narrative
little
starter.
Firecracker.
That's right.
You can't live on the West Coast and not be a little bit of a firecracker.
So what did it sound like AT had going on today? Was he racing in the Daytona 500?
It was the wind. There was it was a non-wind aided 40, but there was a little bit going on. Maybe it's the rum winds, the trade winds bringing in the rum runners.
Oh, that sounds. I did not hear a
clink.
I didn't hear a little umbrella twirling around in a drink though.
Gotta make the pina colada with the rum floater.
Stay with Halftime. Right back at Baum-Walker Stadium in just a moment.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
You're listening to Halftime Live from the Crabtree RV Center studios. Crabtree RV Center, where RVing is life.
1.9% financing for up to 72 months on America's #1 truck, the Ford F-150 at Harry Robinson Saddle-Saw Ford. All of that, and then pair it with matching down payments. It's the time to buy a new truck.
Yes, it definitely is. You know, everybody's saying don't buy, interest rates are too high. That is just not the case at Harry Robinson Saddle-Saw Ford. Get your rebates, get your discounts. Let us match your down payment up to $2,500, and let us get you rolling in a new F-150 at 72 months at 1.9% financing.
We're talking about saving thousands of dollars over what the bank can loan you money for, or anyone else at 1.9%.
Yes, you know, and all these other brands out there advertising 72 months at 3.9, 4.9. Hey, you got the #1 selling truck at 72 months at 1.9% financing.
Plus, get more for your trade, and Harry Robinson never ever charges over sticker price.
Negative. Come down here. This is where you want to buy your new Ford.
Harry Robinson Saddle-Saw Ford, matching down payments up to $2,500, 1.9% financing up to 72 months, 1 mile south of exit 308 off of I-40 in Saddle-Saw.
Clogs? Nobody wants a clog. Westark Plumbing knows that clogs are a serious issue. They can signal that bigger problems are on the way. So contact Westark Plumbing while the problem is small. Slow shower and sink drains, gurgling toilets, and outside cleanouts making a mess? Call 479-646-5151 today. Westark Plumbing and expert drain cleaning since 1993. They keep you flowing. If you have slow drains or high water bills, call Westark Plumbing and expert drain cleaning service. 646-5151.
Joe's Grill and Cantina is already chipping away at 2024. If you have never tried Joe's Chips and Salsa, you're missing a Tex-Mex treat. House-made salsa, made daily with fresh veggies, even carrots. Try their sizzling fajita skillets, crunchy tacos, and their enchiladas with a homemade sauce is the best around. Plus a full bar and TVs all around the restaurant. Joe's Grill and Cantina. Great Tex-Mex, even better service. Joe's Grill and Cantina, 3400 South 74th Street, across from Harps in Fort Smith.
Exciting UAFS basketball returns to the Stubblefield Center in Fort Smith on Saturday, February 17th, when the Lions host the Rattlers of St. Mary's University for homecoming. Doubleheader action begins with the women at 1, followed by the men at 3. Tickets are just $8 and free for children 12 and under. Get yours today at uafs.universitytickets.com and celebrate homecoming with the UAFS Lions.
At Southern Tire Mart, we look out for you and your vehicle. Come visit us for America's most trusted brands like Michelin Tires and top-of-the-line service. You can depend on Southern Tire Mart and Michelin Tires to keep you rolling. Come see us at Southern Tire Mart, just off I-540 exit 14 in Fort Smith, for Michelin tires that fit your needs and service that cares for you like family.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Lover, I don't play to win, but for the thrill until I'm spent. Paint the black hole blacker, paint the black hole blacker. And I threw flowers in your face on my sister's wedding.
Find Halftime on 99.5 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith and the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs and Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and everywhere on hitthatline.com. Join the conversation. Call or text ESPN Arkansas on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Now back to the hosts. Here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
What was I just listening to here, Matt Jones? Tell me what song this is.
That was a little Saint Vincent. Annie Clark. She's a G.
See, that's the one I'd have never heard of her before. And Matt looks at me. He says, "Well, you just don't appreciate art, do you?" You looked at me when I said that to you the other day off the air. We were sitting next to each other. You said, "Look at Saint Vincent here." I'm like, "Who's that?" You looked at me with such disdain. I felt low at that moment.
No, I've been screaming St. Vincent's. She's a great artist. She really is. And just watching her maturation process, she wasn't one and done. She keeps it going on. She's pretty cool.
Well, I do appreciate that song. That sounded pretty good. You know who appreciates something? Chris in Springdale. Apparently, we are his. What was the name of the kid?
Gabe? Was it Gabe? That's not Gabe.
No, the
Gene's Picks.
That's right. Gene's Picks.
Yeah.
The Seinfeld episode from the movie store. We are his Gene.
Uh-oh.
He is taking some of the movies that we talk and using it for recommendations for entertainment purposes for himself or whomever is around him, too. And because we were kicking around the movie High Fidelity the other day.
He watched it, huh?
He watched it.
Tim Robbins, another one. Yeah,
Tim Robbins plays such a slimeball in
Ian.
that movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't even want to hear that name.
Since then, I've never liked anybody with the name Ian.
See, but now, Chris in Springdale is your kind of guy. He is your kind of guy. He
love this giant. Yeah, I've told you about that album too. That
he says St. Vincent has a great collaboration with David Byrne.
Got it on my phone. I actually went and bought that album. Yeah,
I know one group here, or one album that Bill King would not be listening to.
Oh, you know what? Bill King's he's such a grizzled veteran. You know, whatever he says, we just we go with it.
What was it he said? He was like he never play David Byrne covers on his show. Is that what it was?
Take me to the river. Yeah. It's like that's an Al Green song, but yeah, okay.
Oh gosh, that cracked me up. So now Chris wants more movie recommendations. Only the good stuff.
Watch Band-Aid. That's if you like another music movie, Zoe Lister-Jones. Watch Adam Polly, Fred Armisen. Watch Band-Aid. You'll dig it. If you like High Fidelity, you cannot not like.
You like anything Fred Armisen's in.
Oh, he's amazing. Portlandia is one of my favorite. Documentary Now. He's a Seth Meyers guy. Do you like Seth Meyers humor? I know when at all those. Yeah, so he's kind of that. I mean, he's very cheeky. He's a musician. That's the thing. He wanted to be a musician, kind of like Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp wanted to be a musician, and then you had to go into acting just to pay for your music habit.
I was listening to a story yesterday about your boy Johnny Depp, and ever since the divorce with Amber Heard, and again, that's a rare moment where the phrase Amber Heard actually means the actress, at least on this show. He has since developed a really strong friendship with the ruler of Saudi Arabia. They're like brothers. They're kind of brothers now. How do you like about this? I mean, unexpected. Put that on the list of things that would not have been expected, along with Arkansas basketball losing 20-point games routinely at home. Though I don't know if I can connect those two things too well.
Well, the good thing is there's only 7 games left in this basketball season. Every game feels an opportunity. Even if these guys, you don't know how many of these guys will be an Arkansas Razorback next year. But there's tape out there, and there's still eligibility left. They're still going to play basketball. So every time you go out there, you want to put good tape out there because whatever your next move is, they're going to be watching is what I'm saying. You're evaluated on every game day.
You're right, and this is something I learned from working in baseball for as long as I did, that somebody's paying attention, no matter if it's the 140th game or if it's the 18th game or if it's the 7th game of the World Series. They are paying attention, and there are people whose opinions that matter that are paying attention. So if there comes a point where the season feels lost, well, you got to play for yourself. But doesn't it at sometimes feel like that's already been going on?
Hey, you know what? I've played. I was fortunate enough to play ball from 7th grade on, and then every time, I don't know, 26 years old or so. There comes a point where you don't get to play anymore. You can't be getting blown out by 25 points, multiple. It did feel maybe on one hand did a team like that get beat that way, because then it is kind of. It's hard, man. What do you say when you get beat by 25 over and over again?
That's also on your resume. Look, I mean, you don't get the wins and the losses necessarily on your resume as a basketball player the way that a pitcher does or the way that a head coach does. But, I wonder how much you pay attention to something like that. And I don't mean this as a knock against the individual, but L. Ellis has been a part of some pretty miserable basketball seasons over the course of his college basketball career. That's just a fact. To be part of an historically bad Louisville team, to be part of this is an historically bad Arkansas team right now. He's a guy who's come up big in some moments for Arkansas, but this is also somebody who's been used to losing basketball games by a wide margin.
Yeah, no, I'm an L. Ellis fan. That's for sure. You're pulling for these guys, but there's I don't know what to say. I mean, I don't know how you fix it, how you change it, what you do. I've always said I think it starts with your in-state kids, making sure you have some in-state kids on this roster, and it seems like we're getting away from that, both football and basketball. You start getting away from your in-state guys, and then the success has kind of gone downhill as well.
Well, and baseball too. We've gotten a little bit away from. I mean, they've got kids from Arkansas in this team, but there really aren't many starters out of the starting 9. Well, starting 8, if anybody, that's from the state of Arkansas. Peyton Holt is the only one from Greenwood, but I mean they obviously recruit the state, but they have such a heavy influence close to the state: Kansas, Missouri, the Kansas City area, Oklahoma, Texas. Arkansas baseball does recruit nationally. I mean, you get kids from California here and have for a while now, but they recruit regionally in a way where Arkansas dominates the Kansas City area. Arkansas, I don't know if I'd say dominates, but they get some of the best talent from the state of Oklahoma, a state where Mickey Mantle and Johnny Bench came from. So, I mean, there's some talent that comes from Oklahoma. So you can't build the program off of kids from the state of Arkansas. But in basketball, I mean, you're talking about a much smaller roster.
You still need them, and the thing is, this team went and got smaller. And I'll go back to something Coach Nutt told me. I thought Coach Nutt was one of the best evaluators of talent, keeping his in-state talent, getting the right guys out of state. He said, if you're going to go and get somebody that's a smaller athlete, you have to be elite at something. So we went and got smaller across the board. We went and got a smaller athlete on this basketball team than we had last year, but they're not elite at something. So we really, it's a lack of talent. There's not really a whole lot of talent on this basketball team.
But it's also another, what else are you lacking? You're lacking some size in spots where you need it. And sometimes we think about size being at forward, being at center. You are a little undersized in some cases there, and some of the guys that are bigs in that case don't play that style of basketball, like a Jalen Graham. Lawson. He tries, but there's only so much you can do, and the thing that's going to get you up near the rim is going to just be your arms instead of the rest of your body. But it's also the guards, man. I mean, it's the guards. It's. Man, I mean, I hate putting it in these terms. Should we when we were looking at the roster when the season started, should we have been looking at this thinking like, where's the size? Who's really going to play on the inside? Like, I remember one of the big things I was trying to hit on at the start of the season was wanting to believe that all the talk of that went into Jalen Graham is improving at rebounding and defending and being a guy who's not just a scorer in the paint. And there've been a couple of games where that's happened, but more consistently it's been in the other direction. So that's an if. I talk about the ifs for a baseball team. You need for the basketball season to go in the direction you wanted it to go, and it's not all on him. This is just a part of it. The if Jalen Graham was an if, right?
Yeah, and he's gotten better. That's for sure. Davenport can't move laterally, but he can play a little offense. Minifield and Ellis, they're just too small. You saw what number 3 did to Mark. What's his name? For Tennessee, their best player.
Connect.
When he got on Mark, you saw what the bigger, taller athlete did to Mark's a great offensive player. He's just a little. He's little. You get the bigger, stronger athlete. That's what I see with Florida. That's what I see with Alabama. You look at these teams in the SEC; they have bigger, stronger, faster athletes than us. And last year it wasn't the case. Anthony Black, Ricky Council Jr., Jordan Walsh. Just as athletic as anybody in the SEC. So we went, whatever we did, we misevaluated talent, got the wrong guys in here. And then the beauty of it is, Phil, it's a Band-Aid. You pull it off and you start over every 9 months or whatever. So it'll be a different collection of guys next year.
Chris wants more movies. I recommended to him Howard the Duck. Thought maybe Ishtar might be a good one that he might think about trying. The new version of Cats, I heard, was just outstanding. Chris, by the way, I'm being really sarcastic here. These are three of the worst movies ever made. Though I would say you might watch Howard the Duck just to say you did it, and it would show that you can endure something, okay?
That's what was it? Was another talk show host that played in Cats. James Corden. Yeah.
Of course he did. Hey, Joe's Grilling Cantina chipping away at 2024 with Joe's Chips and Salsa. And hey, when you sit down, they put the chips and salsa right in front of you. It's made daily on site with fresh veggies, even carrots. Ask about sizzling fajitas, crunchy tacos, and my favorite, their enchiladas. Plus, at Joe's Grilling Cantina, they're going to have Arkansas baseball on this weekend. They'll have Arkansas basketball on as well. When the Hogs are playing, you got them on TV at Joe's Grilling Cantina. Plus, the best Tex-Mex and best service anywhere in our listening area. Joe's Grilling Cantina is at 3400 South 74th across from Harps in Fort Smith. joesfortsmith.com and the Waiter app to put in an order. Wrap up the first hour of halftime as we get you set for opening day at Baum Walker Stadium, and we'll be right back.
Matching down payments up to $2,500 at Harry Robinson Salisaw Ford. It's like doubling your money. You put in $1,000, you get $2,000. You put in $2,500, it counts for up to $5,000 here at Harry Robinson Salisaw Ford.
Yes, hey, Tommy, we're excited. Every time we announce this right here, we get a lot of customers. We get a lot of people coming in, taking advantage of this program. And why not? It's free money, okay? It's going to help you lower your monthly payment. It's going to put you in a better equity position for in the future. Guys, there's no reason not to come down here and buy at Harry Robinson Salisaw Ford.
Tell me about your selection right now.
Tommy, we have the best selection that we have had since opening day. Me and you've been doing this since opening day, and I have not seen this many cars on our lot ever. So come down here and see us. We've got the selection to choose from.
Got nearly 200 right now to choose from.
Yep, got around 200. So come out here. We've got everything you're looking for. Car, truck, van, SUV, transit, Super Duty, whatever it is. Come down here. Let us match your down payment up to $2,500. And hey, we've got the selection.
Harry Robinson Salisaw Ford, 1 mile south of exit 308 off of I-40 in Salisaw.
Hey, it's Ty Richardson for Papa's Pub and Pizzeria. I want to talk about their pizza today. The Goob Special with extra pepperoni and rib rub on top. The Parm Special with double mushroom and jalapenos. Don't forget about the bacon cheeseburger and everyone's favorite, the old trash can. Swing on by Papa's Pub and Pizzeria at 508 Garrison Avenue in downtown Fort Smith, or give them a call at 479-783-9941. Papa's Pub and Pizzeria, the best darn pizza in Fort Smith, perhaps the world.
This year, upgrade your home to safe, convenient, and energy-efficient natural gas from Arkansas-Oklahoma Gas. Skip the prepayments and delivery issues, and enjoy the peace of mind knowing that your natural gas is always there when you need it. And we can help make converting your home easy and affordable too. For heating, hot water, cooking, and more, it's time to upgrade to safe, reliable, and energy-efficient natural gas. Visit AOGC.com to learn more. AOG, Energy for Life.
Precision Overhead Door features the finest quality materials, installation, and service for all of your overhead door needs. Fully licensed and insured, with locations in Rogers and Fort Smith, serving all of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Give them a call today at 844-PDS-DOOR or online at PrecisionDoorNWA.com.